Welcome, everybody. We'll officially start when more people tune in. Hold on, let me make this. I'm gonna make this free on Rockfin. I don't know why it was set to premium, but this should be free. Uh, it's gonna be a fun live stream. I'm looking forward to talking to some of you guys. All right, who we got? Prop and Shadowbend Refugee. What's up, guys? Falcone General, what's up? Like I was saying, we got a lot to talk about. Steven, feliz cumpleaños, Comandante Che Guevara. What's good, Josh? Hope that event went well in DC. Dull excitement, what's up, brother? Forgot to tweet this out to everybody. Share if you care. Yeah, share if you care. All right, so I guess we can start with some announcements. I do want to promote some of the work that my colleagues are doing or are getting started with doing. So Robbie Yeager tweeted this out. An announcement this week. I'm excited to launch Politify, the source for in-depth document-based political finance journalism exclusively on Substack. Unlike some quote-unquote independent outlets, I have no corporate or billionaire donors, just you. Read more here. And of course he doesn't. That's what he exposes. Robbie Yeager, amazing work. Follow the money type of research. Truly, truly great independent journalist. You guys should all follow this guy. He's also a member of the MCSC network, which I am a part of. All right, what else we got? Now here's a page that you should all follow. Commander X, part of the Anon community. He was kidnapped from Mexico. Says it campaigned by friends of Commander X to free him from his completely unjust kidnapping to the United States. Hashtag free Commander X, hashtag free X, hashtag anonymous. The Mexican support team of Commander X launched a free Commander X page on Facebook in the Spanish language. For more info on this, please follow Slow News Day. You can follow them on Rockfin. You can also subscribe to them on YouTube. They'll give you guys all the details about what happened to Commander X. But it's truly unjust. The U.S. has kidnapped Commander X with the approval of the Mexican government despite his refugee status. This is a clear violation of his human rights, and the Mexican government must act to manage X's urgent release. Please use hashtag free Commander X to spread the word. Hashtag anonymous. I will have like Glory or Steve on one of these days to talk more about this. We can have like a Rockfin exclusive show on this. Right, and then there was also the home run for Assange event, which in DC was yesterday. organized by Josh Davis and Jordan and some of the other Action for Assange people. And there was also an event that happened in Columbia, Ohio today. Let me see if I can pull something up here for you guys to see. So this was live streamed on Seoul News Day. I believe also the Free Assange, the Action for Assange YouTube and Rockfin channel also live streamed this. Yeah, so guys, I'll have you guys call in after I give you guys my Peru coverage. Yeah, so here is Misty live. This is 7 hours ago. But yeah, there's Andrew from Action for Assange. Now with Peru, guys, it's still not settled. Even though Castillo won the majority of the votes, from what we see, like when they finished counting all the votes, he's still not officially the winner. They haven't called it. So here's the latest news that happened. This is a tweet by Fiorella Isabel. She said, breaking, Keiko Fujimori is now attempting to demand review of all the actas or vote tallies. Even though her accusations have zero witnesses and are only propelled by money, and even though she's got people on her side in the ONPE and JNE, the ONPE has yet to respond. Hashtag Peru elections. More breaking news. The ONPE has invalidated some votes via the tallies because the difference has now been reduced to 48,220, with Castillo still in the lead, but much less than 70,000. According to Peru Libre's lawyers, out of the 802 solicitations for annulment by Fujimori's Fuerza Popular, only 152 were presented within the required time frame. And out of the 152, only 59 have met the requisites to be analyzed to determine if claims are valid or invalid. Now, this is after Castillo's already been congratulated by countries like Argentina, Bolivia, Nicaragua, countries which have socialist presidents. I've heard from, like, I don't know how official this is, but my family's telling me that Keiko also wants to, like, annul the entire election and just have, like, a brand new election. She does not want to give up power. She does not want to give up power. If she loses, she's gonna go to jail. But I think what will happen is she might seek refuge somewhere. Maybe Colombia, like the most neoliberal country in Latin America. Maybe that's where she'll go and seek refuge at. But I don't know. This is never, from what I know, this has never happened in Peru ever. Like for them to not call a winner for this long now, over a week, it's never happened. So there are some videos I want to show you guys about what's going on there. But what might happen though is they're saying that there might be like they might have like whoever in Congress had the majority of the votes, like when they won like their congressional seat, they might become the temporary president. And the person who that is right now is somebody who's in Keiko's party. So can you believe that? All right, so here's a Kosichin News. You guys should follow them to keep up with some updates about what's happening in Peru. They also give a lot of coverage about what's happening in other Latin American countries. So this is their pinned tweet here, and I want to show you guys what Evo Morales is saying here. The people of Colombia, Peru, and Chile, countries that serve as models of the empire and capitalism, are in rebellion. I would say that this demonstrates the end of neoliberalism. That neoliberalism is in its death agony. That's why there's rebellion.
En Colombia, yo diría es el país más protegido por Estados Unidos como su modelo, como una luz del imperio desde Colombia para América Latina. Y hay tanta rebelión, y sigue la rebelión en Colombia. ¿Qué significa eso? Que ese modelo económico neoliberal ha fracasado. La guerra contra las drogas ha fracasado en Colombia. En Colombia 9 bases militares, una inversión, ¿no? Mucha plata, su pretexto de erradicar el terrorismo y el narcotráfico. La falsa guerra a las drogas es un rotundo fracaso. Es otro mecanismo de control político, su pretexto de lucha contra el narcotráfico. En las décadas pasadas inventaron la lucha contra el comunismo, fracasó contra el terrorismo, también ha fracasado y contra el narcotráfico va fracasando. Y estas políticas de intervención o intervencionismo usando el narcotráfico, el terrorismo va fracasando cuando se revela. Quiera Perú, Chile, Colombia, eran los países más cuidados por el imperio norteamericano, más mimados, si el término exacto, países como modelo del imperio, del capitalismo. Ahora en esos países hay rebeliones del pueblo. Yo diría que esto demuestra el fin del neoliberalismo.
The end of neoliberalism. Let me retweet that. I would love to have Whitney Webb on to talk about her experience in Chile, which has been like a testing ground for neoliberalism by the US and Western power since 1973, when they installed the dictator Pinochet via a violent coup. And then I just had Dan Cohen who talked a little bit about the history of Colombia. That's also the biggest neoliberal country in Latin America. They call it the Israel of Latin America. They use that country to try to control the region there. Here's in 2020, Bolivia's far right demanded that an election audit be ordered by supreme decree to prove the fraud after the right wing lost again to the MAS, Movimiento al Socialismo. That's Evo Morales' party. Camacho called for the suppression of Luis Arce's inauguration and for new elections. Luis Arce was the guy who was running for the Movimiento al Socialismo party. So it's very similar to what's happening now, right? The right wing is always going to want to challenge the elections. They're not going to want to step down.
Si estamos en las calles es porque sabemos de que se pueden lograr muchas cosas.
If we're in the streets, it's because we know we can achieve a lot of things. That's what Evo Morales is saying. It's the death of neoliberalism. A lot of the people are rising up. You know, they're challenging neoliberalism in the streets in Latin America. And mostly in the rural regions, right? Because I think a big reason has to do with how they're not propagandized by mainstream media there as much as people are here in the US and as much as people are in the urban areas in these Latin American countries.
Entre ellas que no se lleve adelante esa posesión. Si nosotros no hubiéramos asumido quién iba a denunciar, o sea, a pedirle a la presidenta que decrete lo que es la auditoría, y eso refleja de que no se dé la posesión, que fue lo que había hecho Evo Morales en su momento. Se lo hemos pedido a través de una carta. Entonces, la realidad es esa grandeza de nuestros diputados, de asumir, pelear desde adentro, pero sobre todo pelear para que haya una auditoría y se demuestre el fraude. Por eso es que estamos insistiendo en que esa auditoría vaya, en que la presidenta dé el decreto, le exigimos que lo dé porque hay suficiente.
He's saying that Janine Áñez, like who served as the temporary president of Bolivia, like really needs to review and make sure that there's no fraud that's happening in Bolivia. Of course, a lot of the right wing and neoliberal outlets, they're gonna be propagandizing its people, saying that there's oh look, there's evidence that there must have been fraud, even though they don't present any legitimate evidence. But that's what this guy's saying here, that Janine Áñez should really review and make sure that there's no election fraud.
Inicio, ya lo he visto, la vocal baptista, y por lo tanto obviamente necesitan suspender la posesión y obviamente convocar un nuevo proceso. Eso está clarísimo y es por eso que el pueblo se moviliza el día de hoy, porque estamos preocupados de que el resultado de esta movilización no vaya a llegar a saco roto. Tiene que llegar realmente donde corresponde, que es a la presidenta, para que pida esa auditoría y suspenda la posesión, y organismos internacionales.
All right, so he's pretty much repeating himself there. And Evo Morales says that Peru's Mario Vargas Llosa is a loser. So Mario Vargas Llosa is supposed to be like this liberal writer in Peru, a very famous writer. My mom, when I was a kid, we were doing a project for elementary school, and she told me to dress up as Mario Vargas Llosa. Like, we had to dress up as like a person in history, like a famous person who's influential in history, and I had to read a book about him. But he's also, though he's liberal, so he supports neoliberalism in Peru. And so what we saw happening in Peru is that the neoliberals, like people who are more liberal, united with the conservatives to try to stop Castillo. And here Evo Morales is calling Mario Vargas Llosa, which, funny enough, he ran against Alberto Fujimori, who's Keiko Fujimori's father, in the 90s, and then he lost to him.
Como Vargas Llosa, tanto condenaba a los movimientos sociales, a los partidos de izquierda de América Latina, pero yo diría en Perú, el peor perdedor es Vargas Llosa, ¿no?
The biggest
Pierde
loser, Mario Vargas
del
Llosa.
imperio, pero también pierde ante las políticas del pueblo peruano. ¿Por qué digo eso? Él ha sido candidato contrincante de Fujimori padre, ha perdido. Y públicamente condenaba tanto la candidatura de Fujimori, hija de Keiko, ¿no? En los pasajes, pero ahora apoyando, pero igual pierde. Escribirá libros sobre los conservadores, sobre los opresores, pero nunca tiene lectura de la situación política peruana, la situación cultural, social, económica del pueblo, de ese pueblo profundo, del Perú profundo, del movimiento indígena, desconoce. Esa es la profunda diferencia que tenemos. Yo sigo con...
Yeah, so he's pretty much saying that Mario Vargas Llosa, though he's a liberal and he writes about conservatives and how they're oppressors, he doesn't truly understand what indigenous people go through in Peru. He doesn't understand that much how a lot of the liberals in the US, a lot of these white liberals are tone deaf. They're tone deaf to the suffrage that happens to the majority of the country here. And so they think that they are achieving something by voting for people like Joe Biden or voting for people like Hillary Clinton. That's not actually going to save us. Like, you're still voting for people that are going to implement policies that are going to still cause suffrage for us. Because with conservatives, they agree on economic policy, because they're bought off by the same people. However, with Peru here, I don't know if Mario Vargas Llosa is bought off by anybody, but he's definitely tone deaf. Definitely grew up in somewhere privileged, and he's out of touch with what the indigenous people go through. And so he bought into the propaganda that the mainstream outlets were saying about Castillo. He views him as this extreme left-wing candidate. And he thought that voting for Keiko would have been like the lesser of two evils. Even though he spent all this time writing about these oppressors, like including Alberto Fujimori. Very, very similar to a lot of liberals. It'll be funny to see if there ever is, if somehow, ever, an outsider candidate in the US manages to get so far in a presidential election, which I highly doubt because our elections are privately owned. But let's say it ever happens. I'm pretty sure we would see a lot of liberals, like Kamala Harris's Biden, Hillary Clinton unite around a Republican. In other words, Mario Vargas Llosa is like a cuck, just like Bernie Sanders, because he supports the right wing of Joe Biden, right?
Este nuevo milenio del siglo XXI no debe ser de las oligarquías, no debe ser de las jerarquías, de las monarquías.
It wants to put an end to hierarchies and monarchies. What else? Oh gosh, this lovely piece here. Peruvians in Miami held a protest yesterday against the electoral victory of leftist candidate Pedro Castillo. Placards read "No to communism" and "No to fraud." No al fraude. Without having like a single piece of evidence that there was fraud. They just can't believe that Castillo won. Further showing how a bunch of Hispanic people in Miami are a bunch of conservatives who are completely out of touch with what the majority of Latino people in these Latin American countries go through. It's heavily propagandized people. Oh, this is something I want to show you guys. The U.S. ambassador in Peru is Lisa Kenna, a longtime CIA officer and State Department senior official. Know about her, guys. Let me pull this up so you can see. And I'm sure this is reflective of like how a lot of ambassadors and U.S. ambassadors for these other countries have ties to U.S. intelligence. It says here 9 years at the CIA, Pompeo State Department Executive Secretary and Senior Advisor, Political Advisor at the Pentagon, National Security Council Director of the Iraq Office, State Department Deputy Director of the Iraq Political Office, other posts at U.S. embassies and consulates in Jordan, Egypt, Switzerland, and Pakistan. Like I was tweeting out, all eyes on Peru. There is a chance that the U.S. may get involved. Just like how they got involved in Bolivia, how they got involved in Ecuador, how they try to get involved with Venezuela. Tensions are rising in Peru as far-right Fujimori supporters refuse to accept electoral defeat. In central Lima, a crowd of Fujimori supporters has marched towards Pedro Castillo supporters, looking for confrontation. So they're trying to fight the Pedro Castillo supporters. And lastly, before I move on here, I just want to show you guys, Keiko Fujimori says she's not conceding the elections because Peru is the battleground to fight communism. The more demonization of communism, we can't help these people. No.
El Perú es...
All right.
El Perú es un nuevo epicentro de confrontación.
New epicenter of
confrontación entre el comunismo y una economía libre, entre el control de la prensa y la libertad de expresión. Y hoy que tengo la oportunidad de estar frente a la prensa internacional.
So she's saying that she's going to give like freedom of the press. Is it really freedom of the press if, you know, only a few individuals control the media? Like if there's a monopoly on the media? Because that's what Peru has. Just like in the US, like there's like, what, like 6 companies that own all our media. In Peru, it's very few like individuals that own the media. If I'm not mistaken, there's like 1 or 2 that control everything that the media says. How is that freedom to say what you want? You're only free to say what your donors allow you to say.
Quiero también dar mi mensaje al mundo de lo que significa esta batalla para nuestro país. Esta segunda vuelta no es solamente entre Keiko Fujimori y Pedro Castillo, sino estamos enfrentando también al partido político, como además ellos se autodenominan, marxista-leninista Perú Libre. El destino ha querido que el fujimorismo, que hace 30 años detuvo el avance de Sendero Luminoso, hoy represente a todos los peruanos.
And that's one reason why a lot of people who really are afraid of communism but don't like Keiko Fujimori or her father because of, you know, how he ruled, you know, they don't like how he ruled. The one thing they give him is they're like, oh, at least he took care of these terrorists. So, you know, maybe they'll take care of the terrorists again under Keiko Fujimori. So, you know, I'll vote for them just because I don't want to. I'll vote for Keiko just because I don't want any more terrorism to be in this country. And I've talked several times in this channel about how counterproductive that is. Because under her reign, there's going to be more inequality. That's what you get under neoliberalism. More inequality. There's going to be more desperation among the people. If these people are more desperate, if these people don't have the right don't have education, they don't have their basic needs, some of them might act out in ways that are, you know, desperate. People are going to call it terrorist attacks, or they might kill innocent people, like how some of the people in Sendero Luminoso did. Unfortunately, it's horrible strategy. You know, scaring the people into did that. And it wasn't everybody, but some of them did that, and that's what the mainstream news used to scare people. They'd be like, this is what communism is. And that's what they were using here in this election. It's like, oh, if you vote for Keiko, then there won't be any like terrorists. And she's saying like, oh, I'm gonna build more prisons to take care of these people. Not more education so you can prevent things like that from happening in the future. She wanted more prisons. Similar to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and all of those shit libs that we have in the Democratic Party. These things are so similar.
En el intento de que Perú no se convierta en Venezuela. Esa es una de las grandes responsabilidades que nosotros tenemos. Y queremos informar al mundo hechos muy graves que vienen sucediendo en esta última etapa del proceso electoral. Como lo dije al comienzo, esto no se trata de mí. Se trata de que el Perú es un país estratégicamente, geopolíticamente hablando, fundamental en Latinoamérica. Y es por eso este intento de la izquierda internacional de, como dé lugar, y con todas estas manipulaciones que hemos visto en mesa, quieren tratar de torcer la voluntad popular. He estado en prisión.
If you guys didn't read that, she's saying that what Peru Libre, Castillo's party, is trying to twist the popular will of the people, right? She's trying to make it seem like, oh, the majority of the country are afraid of these terrorists. They don't want communism. First of all, Pedro Castillo is not even a communist. He's a social democrat. Second of all, she's out of touch with what the people in the rural areas and like in the jungle and the mountains want. Third of all, she has no evidence. She has no evidence that there was any election fraud that happened. And she's also presenting this like nationalistic rhetoric, right? Saying, "Oh, this is about Peru's freedom," and then you see her like campaigning with like the Peru jersey. It's like, oh, it's like this patriotic messaging that she tries to promote. It's like, oh, it's not about like Keiko versus Castillo. It's about the people versus the terrorists. It's about Peru versus communism. That's the messaging that she tries to present, and also what the mainstream media did, which was pretty much campaigning for her.
3 veces, más de 16 meses, alejada de mi familia. Y de esa experiencia tan difícil es que saco las fuerzas para decirle a la izquierda radical y al Partido Marxista-Leninista Perú Libre que nosotros vamos a levantar nuestra voz. Lo que queremos es que se respete la voluntad popular.
She's not even respecting like what the majority wanted, like the popular will of the people. She's claiming there's election fraud without any evidence. No evidence whatsoever. And she wants to annul the election and start everything all over again. Unbelievable. Oh my God. What a hypocrite. Oh my gosh, guys, what a hypocrite. All right, let me see what some of you guys are saying. Shadowban Refugee says Sendero Luminoso definitely a cult. Flamita Caso said lo que queda de Sendero Luminoso se convirtió en protectores de narcotraficantes en la selva peruana. She said a los CIA. Misanthropic and out of the coffee, South America is struggling to lean left. They won't get a break until it breaks up here. Tony Gray, she's really doubling down. Yeah, she really is. Evidence is a moot point. What sucks is that there's a whole bunch of people that are hitting the streets saying, "Oh, like we're against election fraud," but they haven't even seen a single piece of evidence of there being election fraud. They're claiming, "Oh, like they're getting help from Venezuela," not knowing that Venezuela has one of the most secure elections, like in the whole world. Like I can share with you guys an article you can show people that like shows all this evidence of these studies, people that are overseeing the elections in Venezuela, like the process that they have to go through. Like Venezuela has a very secure elections. Let me see over at the Rockfin. All right, guys. Yeah, and there's also a Gray Zone article I want to talk about real quick before we do the call-in show. I thought it was pretty good, except for one thing that I had a problem with. Let me zoom out here. All right, well, right-wing Peruvian demagogue Keiko Fujimori burned the country down before accepting defeat. This is by Danielle Espinoza, who the Gray Zone hired to write this article. Said despite a wave of anti-communist propaganda and mysterious terrorist massacre, leftist teacher Pedro Castillo has triumphed in Peru's presidential election, but his right-wing rival refuses to accept the results. Keiko Fujimori, the political heiress to the jailed Peruvian former dictator Alberto Fujimori, appears to have lost her third election in a row. Also, it's funny how in the video we just saw, right? She was trying to present herself as this victim, like she was like a political prisoner. Oh, I went through so much hardship. Even though she grew up with privilege, she grew up with a silver spoon in her mouth. Her family is one of the most powerful families in Peru. This time she has been defeated by Pedro Castillo, a leftist teacher from the rural Andes who narrowly leads in a deliberately delayed poll, facing a possible 30-year sentence for an array of corruption-related charges. Keiko is now challenging hundreds of thousands of ballots already deemed to be valid, in a move that resembles former U.S. President Donald Trump's recent defeat and subsequent rejection of election results. That's the problem I have. That's the part that I have a problem with in this article, and I'll get to when I finish the sentence. Fujimori is going for a hat trick. She has called fraud on the two last elections after losing, both times without success. Now, this is a false equivalency here, because Peru has more secure elections than the U.S. by far. I've reported on it here on this show. The Convo Couch talks about it a lot on their show. Nico House also. Talk to these election integrity activists. There's an article on Truth Out that I've discussed before on this show that goes into detail about the intricacies of these voting machines and how much insecurity there are in these elections. Our elections are privately owned. There's also these oligarchs that control both political candidates. So for Donald Trump to say that, oh, there's election fraud, like, because we don't have secure elections, there's a lot of susceptibility for there to be fraud that occurs in the US, more so than in Peru, where they have more regulations. They have more people who are overseeing the elections. We don't have the same thing in the US. For more info, I'll put the article here for you guys to read. All the insecurities that US elections have. So that's why it's a false equivalency. Like, Keiko has no place to say that there's fraud. Also, she has she has a powerful family that with connections to all the powerful people in Peru, like all these rich people in Peru. Like, if there was fraud, it's more than likely going to be coming from her. Also, the history of corruption that she has had and that her father have had. And yeah, Donald Trump is corrupt also, right? He's had a corrupt history. But what about Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, right? And how the majority of the intelligence community preferred Joe Biden. His transition team were filled with all these people with ties to big tech and the CIA, and people with positions in these voting machine companies like Dominion. There's cause for concern there, right? It's different. So I'll read a little bit more of this, and then we'll do the call-in show. This time, only a small suburban elite, a concentration of corporate outlets controlled by El Comercio, and several ultra-conservative publications are on Keiko's side. However, she is attempting to compel the masses into the streets in a move that is as irresponsible as it is dangerous, and which bears distinctive echoes of Trump inciting his fanatics to storm the U.S. Capitol. Again, there's more cause for concern in the U.S. elections than there are with the Peruvian elections. This would be similar to saying, like, with Hillary Clinton and all this evidence that there was like fraud that happened with the rigged elections, the rigged primaries that happened during the primaries in 2016. That would be like if, let's say, like Bernie, he won, like he barely won, right? And then Hillary Clinton goes on and says, oh, there was fraud that happened. We need to investigate. There must have been fraud that happened, even though we see that how powerful Hillary Clinton is, the connections that she has with powerful people who hold high positions in the electoral process and in the DNC, like it's rigged in her favor. Just like this election was rigged in favor of Keiko Fujimori. She had the power of the press, the power of all these rich people in Peru. Even though Trump is in, like, he's even though he's in that club, right, with all those rich people, he's not somewhere within that club. Like, that club has a political bubble, right, where they have people who are more competent, who know how to be politicians, who know who the intelligence community can use as a false sense of security for the country, as a false sense of accomplishment. Better liars. Like, when Trump lies, we know he's lying, right? But unfortunately, the majority of the country doesn't know when Joe Biden or Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton are lying. Because we have all these, like, liberal outlets like CNN, MSNBC always calling out Trump's lies. And he was not supposed to win in 2016 either. It was supposed to be Hillary Clinton. She's a more competent actor than Donald Trump. But yeah, those are just my 2 cents why I disagree with that part of the article. And I can pull out that truthout.org article. There's also a Mint Press News article written by Whitney Webb that talks about the problems with our election system, how it can so easily, like, it's built, right? It's set up to be so susceptible for fraud. All right, so let's get this call-in show started. I'm about to open up Discord, and then you guys can join the voice channel. I'll send an invite for anybody who's not on the Discord yet, and you guys can join. Let me switch scenes here. All right, we have Falcone General waiting in there. Let me send an invite. All right, here's a link so that you guys can join. Also, here's an article that you guys can read up on about our elections. I'm gonna wait for more people to jump into the voice channel, and then I'll jump in there, and then I can start talking to you guys. But here's the article that I sent you guys. It's called the shocking truth about election rigging in the United States. All right, it's a very well written article. It talks about the history of U.S. election rigging that happens, how susceptible our system is for rigging. And here's another article by Whitney Webb that I just placed in the chat. And then for coverage on the elections on how it may have been stolen from Trump. By the way, guys, even if there was like election fraud that happened, like if there was cheating that happened, it could still mean that Trump could have still lost, right? We don't know for sure because that's how effed up our election system is. We can't know for sure who actually won. Like it's not like in like a sports game. Like let's say like a team cheats and then like if they get caught cheating, then they're disqualified. That's not the case with these elections. Like there's a possibility that one side could have cheated, but then despite that, the team that they were cheating against could still have lost because they didn't get the majority of the votes, or they didn't get the majority of what's it called? Of the electoral college. All right, guys, I'm jumping into the voice channel. What's going on, guys? Shadowban Refugee and Falcon General, how are you guys doing? Can you hear me?
Shadowban is just muted right now.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say this. Mostly I just been mostly just like been doing some research, and I just like found some new videos to check out where I was watching this like trial video from Peru of Chairman Gonzalo, and they were talking about have you ever heard this?
So Falcon, before you proceed with that, because I know you're like really into you're really deep into like this Maoism movement and everything. Just let everybody know who Chairman Gonzalo is.
Okay, so for everybody who doesn't know who Chairman Gonzalo is, he's the leader of what everybody calls Sendero Luminoso, but their actual name is the PCP, or the Communist Party Peru, or the Shining Path. And basically, I was watching a video from his trial, which a comrade of mine translated from English, where he was talking about he was asked about, I think you heard about it. It was called the Tara car bombing or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong if I mispronounced the name of that bombing.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I basically found out that basically Chairman Gonzalo and the Central Committee denied any involvement in the whole car bombing entirely, saying like they never even, or the Central Committee or Chairman Gonzalo never even ordered the bombing at all. That's what I found out.
I'd have to read that article.
I can link the video.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah. I'll take a look at it. Oh,
yeah,
we see Ramiro in the live chat. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know, man. I mean,
yeah,
sis.
Does anybody else want to speak or no?
Yeah, we got Connor Gillis who just joined.
Oh,
Boston,
hey, Connor.
Josh Davis.
Hey, Franco.
What's up?
How are y'all?
Yo.
Hey, Anthony.
What up,
so what's new, guys? Let me know what you guys like.
Yo,
what caught your attention with like
join the chat, Tender Lungs.
Join the chat. What? Oh, Tender Lungs. Yeah, I see. I see. There's somebody new that just joined.
Yeah, I can invite him.
We got a lot of newbies in the chat.
I wanna, I just want to let people know about, TYT, and why I'm not going to really cover it. It's because when I see something that a bunch of people are already covering, and I feel like my audience already knows, that about something, if it's something really obvious, like for example TYT being grifters and then repeating State Department talking points, this is stuff that I've covered from the beginning, when I first started Frank Analysis. So I feel like this is something obvious that a lot of people already know. So I would rather focus my energy on learning some new things and inform my audience with new information, rather than just
Yeah.
having like a
Yeah.
video that's just like more confirmation bias or things that they already know. Just talk about like how water is wet, right? It's a big
Well, sometimes you should challenge
straight
the
up. Who
audience.
gives a flying fuck about TIT anymore?
Yeah,
Like,
we don't need to
Jesus
talk about
fucking
that.
it's
Christ.
irrelevant, right? Like we already know, we get it. Yeah, we know the
TIT
Yeah.
grifters. Like it's
is
been like it's been exposed already. Like people have been exposing TYT for the past like 4 or 5 years. Like we already know. Like there's plenty of articles that show like where their money comes from. There's plenty of footage showing how they repeat State Department talking points about Syria, Libya, like everything, Israel, Palestine.
Yeah.
We get it.
It'd be like me fucking going on about like some ex-girlfriend gave me fucking chlamydia and I broke up with that bitch 10 years ago. So like seriously, enough with the fucking soap opera politics shit.
Hell yeah, yeah, I agree with you, Shadow Man. Oh, we got DJ Alf7 here too. What's up? And Tenderlungs. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you. I'm just kind of listening. That's why I didn't join at first. I was kind of doing some stuff, but Anthony called me out, so I said, "Fuck it, I guess I gotta."
Oh, now you got. I feel like you got a lot to say, bro.
No, I didn't. I don't know what you guys are talking about right now. I only have something to say when I have something to say. Like if I
Wait, Anthony
we
called you out or he called you up?
Nah, I called him to pull up. I didn't call him out.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm just.
Well, we talking about TYT and shit,
Yeah. I don't even pay them no attention at all. I haven't paid them attention years. It's been years. So.
Well, I think since you've been talking about confirmation bias and how it's just like you're tired of saying the same old things and other people have covered it and it's done.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can start challenging your audience a bit, challenging those confirmation biases a bit. But at the same time, doing it through a way that isn't alienating and, can help them learn as a whole and, maybe contribute more to their local movements and things like that.
Yeah.
Like you're saying.
I
like,
don't think any of us that watch the audience are fooled about TYT. I don't think
the majority of audience members that I gained were because of like my TYT coverage during like Force to Vote. I mean, if something is relevant, like let's say like something like really new happens, I don't know. Like if they like repeat like a State Department talking point about Peru, which is not something that they talk about a lot, and I feel like it's something really personal, then I probably would make a video about it. But as of now, like I'm not seeing anything new. I'm just seeing like the same.
Franco, hold up.
I think it's more relevant to call out Crystal and Sauger than TYT. I mean, they got a way bigger audience. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Can I? Oh yeah, I was gonna say this. Like at this point, TYT is not even worth any coverage or any attention at all, because literally they have become super unpopular and unwatchable. And literally, like the topic has been talked about TYT being full of shit for a while, and like nowadays it's like worthless to even talk about TYT at all, because they just are literally just mainstream media LARPing as like independent left-wing news. Like that's what they are. They're just LARPers. Like they're just
Chunk and Anna got those big paychecks. And just like what Jimmy's been talking about, since he separated them and stuff, and Franco's been talking about what all these people on the left, real people have been talking about, and it's just sort of frustrating. It's sort of frustrating that they're always ever present, though. Like we talk about them because anywhere you go online, it just pops up as like this holier than thou liberal bullshit, and it's just obnoxious.
Definitely.
I was gonna say this, Connor. I was gonna tell you this.
It's all horseshit, dude. It's all fucking horseshit.
I was gonna say this. I was gonna tell my friend Connor. Basically, Cenk Uygur has like always been full of shit because one, like if you look into his like past, like he's like been full of shit, and he's like always been like a fucking grifter. Literally, he used to like deny like the whole Armenian genocide. I bet he still
Yeah,
denies it.
I remember that. That was the first time
He's
I
still
ever heard of him.
hesitant.
I remember like YT. But I remember seeing them occasionally come out and say something like against conservatives or something, or against a reactionary message that is pretty common sense. And that's so difficult. That was so difficult at the time for the quote unquote mainstream media. And then, well, they got their paycheck. They are a part of the mainstream media now. They are patrons of the mainstream media. Before they were just progressives, like left liberals. And of course, they always had their issues and their liberal tendencies, but it really all went out the door. And people like Jimmy Dore, speaking of which, couldn't, really maintain themselves in that environment because they don't want to be bought. So and people hate it. People are like, well,
I
at
hate
one
this
point,
conversation. I hate that we're
yeah,
sitting here talking about fucking Cenk and Anna and TYT when there's actual issues going on. Like this is ridiculous. It's like a fucking drama. Like,
I mean, right now, one of the biggest issues in the world is what's happening in Palestine. This is the kind of stuff we need to focus. We need to focus on a place in the world where the United States imperialist war machine is killing innocent people and people defending their homeland every day in Yemen and Syria and all across the world, and what their imperialist acts are, like in Asia, the Asia pivot that Obama started, what they're trying to do and to enforce their hegemony over there through their puppets. And Africa, of course, it's a hegemonic power. And it's just, this is the shit we need to focus on, because right now the biggest enemy to humanity is the American empire. And that's just a fact.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this. What topics let me ask you guys something. What topics would you guys like me to cover? I'm not gonna cover much topics this week because I have a lot going on. But tomorrow I will have Vanessa Beeley to discuss about the Syrian elections. Other than that, I'm not really doing anything this week. But the following week I have like a couple people who I will have on. But I'm having Red Sea Socialist who's in the chat right now to talk about what's happening with Ethiopia and Eritrea. Like these are issues that are not talked about enough. So I want to talk about issues that not a lot of people know about. So just let me know what issues you guys would like me to talk about. Yeah.
Imperialism is number one.
I got an idea. How about I got an idea. How about like cover like the People's War that's happening in the Philippines? Because recently what I've been hearing from the Philippines is that literally the fascist state, which is also an American puppet, has been doing like massacres of their own people right now in the Philippines. And there's like a whole war between the communists and the fascist state that's funded by the Yankee imperialists.
Also, I would like to point out in Yemen, since 2011, there's been, and it really ramped up with Saudi intervention and Saudi and other state intervention in 2014. And right now, Yemen is in a state of famine. People are starving to death. There's no protection against COVID there. No fresh water for the people. The Saudi-aligned government is collapsing. The Southern Transitional Council has taken over Aden. The country has been in a constant state of war. The Houthis are pushing, which are truly the only anti-imperialist force in the country, despite their problems. And they're pushing, against the Saudis. They're pushing them back. The Saudis are losing, now asking for peace deals and some sort of mediation, but they're saying no. And it's just one thing that isn't looked at a lot, just because who cares about Yemen? But Yemen is an ancient place with a deep culture, and it's really sad to see what's happening over there. Very similar to what's happened in Syria and in Palestine, other places where there's just criminal imperialism happening and the mass murdering of innocent.
All right. If I could get a chance to speak at this time.
Yeah, you can.
Thank you so much. So I have a couple things to say. First of all, I think that a common theme amongst people are talking about the opportunity cost, right? They're saying that instead of spending your time here, you're spending time there, right? I could say that Yang is at 1%, within 1% of winning New York. And the other people have different reasons why things are critical, right? But in the end, what you asked, your question was, what do we want you to cover? And I'll tell you that God's truth is, I want you to do what you really want to do, because everybody's going to have their own priorities, whatever. But once again, let's take a look at the opportunity cost once again and say, what can you build? And there's ways to plan things where the sum can be greater than the parts. And we've already had successful actions together, you and me, Franco, such as putting pressure. Like, remember when me, you, Dak, a whole bunch of people, right, put up stuff, maybe not Dak, I think it was D. Pierce, but we all tweeted, right, like about the Assange thing, and we made people actually pay attention. Not only that, but the thing is that also, the thing is that you said that this is your wheelhouse, and someone does have to hold these people accountable. So if this is your brand, if this is what you really want to do, we need to cover all the angles. So I'm not mad at you. Whatever you choose, I will back you up. But I also want to say that one thing that I feel like is a possible misconception in something that you said earlier was that you said that people started following because of your tweets, which I think was to a certain extent
No, not
true.
the tweets. The videos that I did for Forced to Vote. A lot of people started following me for that. Like, it's my most watched video, breaking down like Anna and like Benjamin Dixon, like like why they were wrong.
Okay. I really have, to this day, I have not watched Benjamin Dixon even once, even though he offered me to come on his show, right? And I was talking with the producer.
Really?
I don't know if you got to
That shit's salacious.
But let me just finish, please. I'll let you speak. Yeah, I'll let you talk. I'll let people talk several times. I will just be quiet. But the thing is that I felt like the situation was a certain extent created because remember I was sitting there with Jeff, and Jeff was like, "Yo, Franco, how'd you blow up?" You know what I mean? But I remember that Nico had.
Wait, let everybody know who are you talking about? Jeff who?
Jeff Melton.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the Bitter Pill?
Yeah, Bitter Pill, yeah. But Nico had been pushing for several weeks, like show after show. So I knew it wasn't just flash in the, or maybe it was, but I think it was summation of of a strategy that was implemented.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I say on that. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, man. Thanks for telling me. Just cover what you feel is best, Franco. Yeah, I appreciate that, Ed. I appreciate you the times you've come on the show and like tell us about like what's happening with Yang, and you're the one that raised my awareness about all the effed up stuff that was happening with MPP. So I really appreciate that from you, Ed. So far, what I have here is
I'll always be a friend, man. You know this.
Hell yeah, man. Same. What I have here is covering Yemen, covering Ethiopia / Eritrea, and the Philippine Maoists. Let me know if I'm missing anything that you guys said that I should cover.
I got something.
80% of winning. Please help us beat Yang.
I got something. We can I feel like the Mumia Abu Jamal case needs like a little bit more coverage.
Yeah, I only covered it once. I should definitely cover it. I've reached out to people, but they don't reply to me. Like, I don't feel like I know enough.
I remember you reached out to the Free Mumia Abu Jamal campaign, but we
reached out also. They're kind of hard to get in touch with.
Yeah, maybe you might have better luck contacting the African People's Socialist Party. That's what I think.
Okay.
That's what
I'll try to reach out to them again. If anything, I can bring you and like Skeptical Mantis and some of the other guys we had on to talk about Mumia's case.
Like Fuzz and
So Ramiro brings up a good point, and this is something that I've been talking with Skeptical about. Skeptical Mantis said, I would love to see you cover stuff locally in the DC area, poverty, police violence, crackdowns on migrants.
Oh, yeah.
So I will, that is something I'm planning on doing, is talking to some of the people who are on the ground and have them, I'll ask them questions about their story if they're comfortable with it. I'm more than likely, I'm not going to show their faces. If they want to show their face, that's cool. But, most people just don't feel comfortable with that. If you guys see Skeptical Mantis' channel, you see like how he does his interviews. Like he just shows like what's happening in the street. But yeah, we got to get in touch with people and get in touch with the masses more than just talking to people online.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that I want to, help lead the way with, as something new for us to do, is engage with the masses, not just online, but like on the ground.
I was gonna say this, like the other thing I was gonna mention is this, like people need to like get like a lot of people here who are like watching, like to appeal to the masses, like we need to get off the internet and like literally start doing on the ground organizing as well, and basically going out to like more protests and basically start supporting like movements around the country right now, because that's like what a lot of the left is like lacking by them like not doing that type of action, just like staying online and like not reaching out.
Staying online and reading and thinking they know everything about every fucking type of government and not actually ever having an experience of talking to someone with an opposing view.
Yeah. I actually wanted to bring up that question of like, because like I live near the Portland area, and I actually want to visit some protests, but I have no idea like where to actually look for this sort of thing, because I joined like a Facebook group for it, but there isn't really like a lot of talk, and I'm not sure if that's just like the Zuck trying to suppress it or whatnot, but like I just don't know where to actually.
I can give you some ideas right now. Okay, one of the things that you're gonna find people who are unhappy is you're gonna find them either at City Hall, right? Yeah, trying to like make things happen at the next city council meeting, or they'll be at their community board, right, asking to make change happen. Going into the projects, you'll find a lot of unhappy people there, and that's right. Or you could go to labor. You could follow the news, right, to see what's popping, right? Yeah, there's a lot of sources to find this type of information. And if you can give me a locality, I'll help you find it right now. Where'd you say?
Okay. I'm in Oregon, near like a 20-minute drive from Portland.
Brian Aguilar, actually, he's doing quite a bit of activity with the Green Party. I will try to get you in contact with him. I'll PM you some information, okay?
Okay, sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No problem. It's coming right up.
Yeah, one of the great things about Discord, and I encourage people to join Discord, I have it pinned here in this chat, is that you meet people that live near you, and then you can, form a little group chat with them and discuss how you can organize events on the ground. That's what Josh did with people around DC. You want to tell people about your story a bit, Josh?
Yeah, well, really, I came out to Clover's, right? And
Clover's for Assange.
Yeah, I think that was in March, and I met a couple people there, and I really liked the environment. But then I came back for the second event. There's a second event in like April, and I talked with Jordan and a couple other people there, including Franco, and literally it was just on the spot. We were like, no one's in DC. We need to do something, and so we're doing something. So we've gone out to DuPont Circle and talked with some people a couple times and handed out some flyers and handed out some bracelets and hung up some posted some flyers on some buildings and fences and shit. And yeah, I mean, you just got to get the conversation started. Like, most people don't know even who Julian Assange is, or whether that's Julian or even Mumia.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one knows about Mumia. No one knows about fucking Craig Murray. There's so many names that people are just ignorant of. But all of us, I mean, we sit on our ass and we just listen to this shit all day. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But you can also take that information that you fucking listen to all day, and you can go talk about it with people that don't know about it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can only do so much just like sitting around and just listening to news all day. You actually have to implement practice. You want to see changes, right? That's why you're listening to that, and it makes you so mad that our country is the way that it is. But don't just turn it into infotainment. You got to actually like get out there and do something. Again, that is something I want to try to do with this DC
I'm
street
totally
epistemology.
with that. Like, well, not just that, Holmes. You got to hit the fucking shop floor. Like, most people spend the vast majority of their fucking life. That used to be prime. That used to be the prime method of organization, was the shop floor. So talk to the people that you work with, meet people where they're at, and in some cases you can fucking radicalize people. Like, fuck, I've got the Apprentice the vast majority of apprentices that have worked with me now want me to go work at the fucking at the apprenticeship training hall because they want me to be able to teach a union curriculum about radical labor and what we can fucking do.
Yeah.
Because like I mean, yeah, we can get out in the streets and shit, but fucking cops are always ready to fucking bust your head, and the fucking media is always going to turn on your ass.
Yeah.
Hey, but fucking get to the fucking shop floor and talk to fucking people. Like, don't be afraid to fucking lose your job by talking to somebody about what the actual issues on the ground are. Don't be afraid to fucking tell your union brothers and sisters, yo, we don't need to be fucking supporting no goddamn Democratic Party. What we need to be doing is fucking old school organized labor. We need to be forcing this shit to happen. We don't need to be fucking asking no fucking political party or organizing no fucking political party to fucking to beg and for them to give us what is rightfully ours. Go out there and fucking take it.
Right.
And like that's my turn to fucking change.
Well said, Shadowman Refugee.
I was gonna mention this as well. It's like the other thing is this. Like I also been seeing like more people doing like basically like organizing like workers in like their workplace. Like I've been seeing like Austin, Texas, like with Juiceland workers, where literally they just like caused like 8 stores to like close now after being on strike for like almost a whole month. Which, and also like the other thing is this, like people like I've been seeing like more, like I want to see like more people actually go out there and actually do more organizing, actual on the ground organizing, but people are just too afraid to do it. And like people shouldn't be afraid to actually do some like on the ground organizing or any like mass work at all.
If I could
like
for a second, yeah. I'm sorry.
I was gonna
the very first time that I met Franco, right, I believe that I told the whole Pan Network always from the beginning that I was an activist first and a YouTuber second, right? That's but would you agree with that, Franco? Do you remember me saying that?
Yep.
Yeah, I always, right, and the thing is that's true. And as in terms of like having experience, right, I've been an activist for a long time. Not only that, but I've also been part of the Green Party for over 20 years. I realized the problem with the Democratic Party a long time ago. I marched for Mumia back in the 90s. Yeah, I know about Mumia Abu-Jamal for a long time. I've also been a part of multiple socialist movements for a good number of years and have working knowledge in that field as well. So if you guys really want this stuff, I really encourage you guys to hit me up because I think that really defines who I am. I may not be as big as a or whatever, you know what I mean? But there's a reason for that. That's because I focus on another side of things. I don't upload on a schedule. I just, you know what I mean? That's a secondary concern for me. My primary goal is making change happen. Knowing there's many different politics. One different politics is knowing who to talk to get the job done. I know who's in the organizations. I know their strengths. I know their weaknesses. I know the personnel. I know what they can accomplish and what they can't. And I encourage you to take this journey with me.
Yeah, thank you guys all for sharing. Giving me like some recommendations on like what to talk about, giving some people like a sense of a guidance of like what they can do, how they can be more active. Once again, join the Discord. You don't only have to just join mine. You can join a whole bunch of other content creators. Falcon General here has her Discord. DJL7 has their Discord. Yeah, with you'll meet people. You'll meet plenty of people who live near you, and you guys can all organize with each other. So let me get some more people to talk here who haven't talked yet.
Does anybody else want to speak?
So I haven't heard from Nell Bell and Fingerman. What's up? How are you? And what do you guys want to talk about? Nell Bell or Fingerman? Fingerman, you're muted.
Yeah. I don't think Nell Bell can hear. Nell Bell asked about the Portland people in Portland.
People in Portland? Okay. Okay, they spoke earlier about Portland. Okay. Tender Lungs. What's up? You said you wanted to talk to me about something?
Fingerman answered. How you doing, Fingerman?
I really don't. I smoke a lot, so I don't remember now. Like I have stuff to talk about, like in the moment. Uh,
Yeah, I hear you, Fingerman.
Fingerman. All right. Tender lungs. You want to?
yeah. What?
Okay. Wait, is
Can you
that?
hear me?
Yeah, yeah. So Boston said you wanted to talk to me about something.
You heard what Fingerman said? He said he thought you did good on the election, with the elections in Peru.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, your volume's a little low, Fingerman. I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear Fingerman just fine, but I don't think anybody else can hear him because I think basically like what Anthony said, his volume's like.
No, I hear you. I hear you. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
I can't really hear.
Fun.
I was gonna
You
say.
go by a different name on YouTube? Yeah, yeah, that's much better. Well, props to here.
You guys can hear him? I can't. I still can't hear him.
Oh, you still can't hear him?
No.
Say,
Let me see if I can like adjust.
Yeah, I can't hear him
with the settings. Yeah, their volume is all the way up. Try getting out off the call and then coming back.
You sure? I mean, say something again, Fingerman. Did you?
Yeah.
You didn't hear that, Franco?
I can't. I can hear everybody else.
That's weird.
I can hear him.
Yeah, I hear.
Yeah, leave the call and come back.
Yeah.
Wait. As well as I was gonna mention this before like Ed jumped in, as well as like the other thing is this, like I think people should like realize like reformism is not gonna work as well, or like elections, in my opinion. Like basically we can't even achieve anything like through like bullshit like reformism at all, like any change at all. Reformism is not gonna work at all. Like that's what people need to start realizing and waking up to.
Are you saying you can't vote your way out of this?
Huh?
Are you saying you can't vote your way out of this?
Like you can't vote your way to, you can't like I'm saying is this like elections and reformism are not gonna fucking work. Like people need to realize that it's not gonna fucking work.
And why do you say that?
And also like the other thing is this, like people like need to stop like supporting bullshit like elections and reformism. Like change is not going to come from like reformism. Change is actually going to come from like actually like getting out there and doing shit. Like, and also like the other thing is this, like people should be like supporting like revolution, revolution. And also like I also think
what
this
does that
like
mean?
No,
revolution.
Let's not get into that debate.
Yeah, you can't just say people should support revolution. That's a pretty complicated topic.
It is too complicated. We can have that discussion like on Rockfin only, but the thing is like on we can't really do that on YouTube.
Or I can use the phrase PPW. No, can I use the phrase PPW instead?
I don't know.
No, I'm with that though.
So
I'm with that part.
Okay.
What was I gonna say? No, I just wanted you to explain, Falcone, from your perspective, so that the audience can understand. Why do you say that we can't vote our way out of this? Which includes like we can't third party our way out of this, right?
Yeah. Basically, like the elections are already controlled by the state entirely. They can rig it whenever the fuck they want. They could do whatever the fuck they want to basically rig an election. Like history has shown, like I remember like these like I call them Eurocoms right now. Like these like Eurocoms like try to vote their way into power and shit like that. and like every single time the election will get rigged, or literally they would get like kicked out. They would get kicked out by like the ruling class, aka the bourgeoisie, entirely. And literally, the other thing is this: like some of the shit that was achieved, like for example, I can use this example, like the 8-hour workday was not achieved through like reformism or like electoralist bullshit and stuff. Like it was like actual like people actually died and actually like started protesting and striking for an 8-hour workday and shit like that. Like people didn't go out and just go like, oh, let's vote for politicians to give us some 8-hour workday or some shit like that. And the other thing I was gonna mention is this, like trying to like vote. It's like here's like also another example of like how reformism doesn't even fucking work. Like how these like people try to like tell us to go vote for like the Democratic Party and shit like that, and try to say like let's vote for these progressives and shit like that to take over the Democratic Party and all this other bullshit to try to get like actual like change and actual like policies that will help people. But then literally those like people that we were told to vote in, like the Justice Democrats, turned out to be literally just like a bunch of fucking frauds. Basically, there's like historical and modern examples of how reformism and elections don't even fucking work. That's why I think we should oppose elections entirely.
Does everybody
Elections
here
don't
agree or disagree? Anybody agree or disagree with what Falcone
I
said?
could give a flying fuck about elections. That's why I said to get to the fucking shop floor. Fucking the only power that you're gonna fucking attain is through numbers. You're not gonna fucking attain any power by fucking begging, by getting on your fucking knees and licking the boots of some fucking political party, yo. Get to the fucking shop fucking floor and talk to the people that you work with and use your power as not only through labor but through capital strike as well. Talk a lot about fucking labor strike, but yeah, check it out. Most of the fucking industry that used to be here is now in fucking China, Vietnam, Bangladesh, all over the fucking world. So we don't really have the fucking power to shut down the economy through labor strikes that we used to. So what do we need to do? We also need to do fucking capital strikes in conjunction with shutting down our workplaces, right? We need to fucking pull our money from fucking banks. We need to fucking start fucking we need to maybe do a community bank or fucking like a union fucking members bank or some shit like that. Something where we can fucking opt out both fucking in the labor sphere, but in the capital sphere, and also in the fucking like electoral sphere. Like honestly, if you're looking for any sort of fucking tangible fucking change through national or federal level elections, you're smoking fucking rock, dog. Like, you ain't gonna fucking get anywhere that way. You need to fucking get your ass into a fucking local fucking setting, maybe on the county setting, and at the very fucking farthest, the state. But even most of the time, the state it bows to the fucking federal government any fucking way. So, like, if you're gonna talk about electoralism, that's fine in local settings, but nah, dude, you ain't fucking getting anywhere in fucking national electoral politics. It's a fucking fact. It's been proven. This isn't a fucking theory that I have. This isn't an ideology that I have. This is just fucking proven fact. You can't fucking get anywhere.
So I want to get
it is a little like we're kind of getting a little ahead of ourselves though when everybody talks about a general strike and we don't really think about what that really entails. Like, you realize people have to pay their jobs. They're going to face ramifications in the workplace. Like, they have to feed their kids at night. Like, if you shut down the whole economy, I mean, that it's not just going to be, you're not just going to get what you want immediately. So, like, when we talk about a general strike, just like, oh yeah, we need everybody in the streets. Like, if that's what's going to happen, then yeah, it's going to be pointless. Like, if everybody's not being looked out for, and if there's no security behind these people being able to actually go against their workplace, then there's no fucking point about a general strike.
Oh, and also,
I totally agree with that. That's why I said capital strike. Like,
Everybody's
yeah,
talking
I
about
agree with you, Josh. Like, you got to have a capital strike to where you can have like a strikers fund at your own bank that the fucking your local hall and maybe a few other fucking
yeah,
locals
Right.
around you and other trades and
Um,
shit. They can
right.
fucking we can
But
all pool our
uh,
resources together and we can put
boys,
together for that fucking striking fund.
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
so
hey,
I was gonna,
what's the list of demands? What is the list of demands?
Right.
We're just gonna get
Right.
out and make
That has
noise?
to be
What?
clear. Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna, I was gonna comment a bit on like what Shadow Band said. Like, even like I was gonna say this like about local elections, even their rig, even the central government would literally like kick
Yeah.
those like people that
Mhm.
you elected. Like this happened in the Netherlands before when like communists like thought, oh, they had control over like this like city and shit like that. And literally, what the state of the Netherlands did, they literally like kicked them out violently out of the government.
Okay, but there's definitely a
Like,
way to get into your local government. Like Kashama, or I'm not saying she's perfect, but she's an example. So there's ways to get into
Kashama,
your local government and take control, even if that's in the sheriff's department. Like
She
there
like
are
the
fucking
only
ways to
one.
take over.
basically, like the other thing is this, like literally, like the other thing is this, like to even like force your local government to do anything, you have to do it like by force, like for example, like what we were talking about, like doing like capital strike and shit like that, and doing like actual like strikes and shit like that, and protests.
Yeah,
To
when it comes
basically
to
like
like
force them to do shit.
But that's not going to happen when we're just saying like we need to do actual protests and there's no we're not even close to that point right now. Like we don't even know what the demands are going to be.
Yeah.
yeah, it's happening right now.
How do you know what the demands are going to be if you don't hit the shop floor? Like, we're all talking about, like, honestly, the whole fucking idea of, like, we need to fucking violently force the state or whatever, or in any fucking way to force the state, it makes no fucking difference. If you don't know what the fuck your neighbor and your fucking coworkers and your fucking brothers and your fucking in labor are fucking asking for, like, you're going to meet some people where they're at. Like, this whole idea that, like, oh, reformism is bullshit and we fucking got to go totally revolutionary. That sounds really cool and everything, but no, we aren't fucking there. Like Josh was saying, we're not even close to there. Like, we don't know who our fucking neighbors are. We don't know who the fucking people in our city council are. We don't know
Yeah.
what the people crossing the river fucking need. We don't have the slightest idea. Like, if I was to tell somebody in fucking Albuquerque, just right up the road from me, that we have some serious fucking problems here in Las Lunas over a water bottling plant, they wouldn't know what I'm talking about. Like, they don't understand what anyone's going through because they don't fucking talk to each other. So use the shop floor to your advantage. Like, connect with people. Like, we're talking.
I would actually like to respond to that. Yeah. So the thing is that it's kind of strange that on one hand, right, you're promoting right knowing your neighbor, but on another hand, you don't want to get involved with electoral politics. A lot of times, right, you want to find the people who want change. A lot of those people are entering, not the candidates they usually suck, to tell you the truth. And just so you know, a lot of people mistakenly believe that I think the electoral politics is the solution. I have never said that. You know what I mean? So don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? The thing is that, right, but the people who want change will be trying to affect change through the process, and you'll find them often getting involved with candidates or talking to them some way, somehow. Also, these candidates will also be reaching out towards community organizations. And like AUC, she's actually like you see like an interview that I did on my channel talking to like someone who's a homeless advocate, right? People on the streets, they don't get to choose, right? Whoever shows up and is willing to help, that's who you work with. And the thing is that, right, also people have been talking about a general strike. How do you expect me to have solidarity with the strike when the strikers have not shown loyalty to me? Why should I believe?
Why do we have to be loyal to you? What is that?
Can I finish? Can I finish? Why should I believe the strikers over any politician who just also says that I'm on your side?
I can barely hear him, bro.
But
Barely
who are
hear
you,
Ed.
bro? Like, why do we have to be loyal to you?
Yeah, I can barely hear you.
It's my whole thing that I did by working with these electoral groups like Yang Gang, by working with the Revolution.
You're fading out.
Ed, your audio.
Yo, Ed, Steven, come back. Steven, come back real quick.
So like when it comes to like the general strike thing, the thing that pops up into my head is more like getting in touch with your community as well, because when you get in touch with your community, in my opinion, it feels like you gather a group of resources, of people who know resources and can provide various goods and services just within your own community, and from that you can like do things like start a community garden if you need to, buy some chickens, start a chicken coop, etc. But like, yeah, like the general strike thing is very complicated, I think.
It's like trying to reach point, like point Z, or like point Y, when you haven't even reached like point A, B, or C yet.
Yeah.
Like you have
Like,
to
people have
organize
fucking
other
wages.
events
They have to pay
first.
rent at the end of the month.
Yeah.
They have fucking insulin they have to buy. Like they have to pay for their water heat. Like a general strike. Like it's just ridiculous. We are not even close to that point. There's so many things that have to be done before
Yeah.
then. Mutual aid,
Yeah, you gotta.
all of these types of things. Clear demands. Like we're just not even. We're so disorganized right now. We can't even talk. We can't even get over a fucking media personality on YouTube. And
That's
we're
such a
talking about a
great
general
point.
strike. It's like it's almost funny to me.
Like
Yeah.
we can
I'm
we can
with
have
you,
like
Josh. I'm with you 100%. Like,
yeah
like
Yeah.
death by 1,000 cuts, but you got to fucking learn how to fucking use a knife before you have 1,000 cuts.
Well, if I could,
Like, there is no one fucking program.
Okay. I'm sorry you guys couldn't hear me before, but I think that I'm better now. Yeah. Sorry about the sound quality. I will work on it later. Yeah. But you guys can hear me now, right?
it's
Not
still a
really.
little bit. It's still a
I
little
could,
low.
I can hear Ed better now.
Let me still make some adjustments. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna go to another channel and make some adjustments to my audio. I'll be back. Sorry about that.
Like let's focus on like more specific events first, and then collab with other people nearby who are organizing other events, and be like, hey, here's another event that's happening.
Yeah.
Eventually that'll
Yeah,
expand
like-
and you will get a general strike, but we have to do that
Yep.
first. We can't just keep saying, oh, general strike, and then it'll just magically
Yeah.
happen. That's just not how it works.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention this, like, as well as, like, for example, like, we should also support and like donate to like strike funds. Like, I actually have a link to a strike fund for the Juiceland workers in Austin right now. Let me pull it up. Let me try to get it so y'all can go check it out.
Yeah.
And we need like show solidarity to like some current strikes that are happening.
Well, something that I actually brought up to my fucking union recently was like I think we should try and do a little bit more like homeless outreach and shit, right? Like like I think if like so if my local and the fucking dinners and the plumbers, we all got together and we put together enough fucking money to have like a community research center where we house people and we give them an apprenticeship so we can give them a fucking leg up. Like I think that could move. Because like from where it stands right now, if you fucking go and talk to someone and you say that we need a general strike or we need a da, you just sound like a pontificating jackass. Right?
Yeah.
Like you can't fucking meet if you can't meet people where they're at first, like and like build some rapport with each other, then you're fucked, right? Like that's one of the greatest achievements of the old socialist and communist parties back in the 30s is that like when they would show up to evict people out in their fucking pad, someone would go and say go and get the fucking Reds, and all the Reds would show up out of their halls and all that shit, and they'd show up and they'd fucking fight with the cops and move all their shit back in their house, because that was like the real show of fucking solidarity back then. So we may have to do some type of like, I don't know, intra-organizing like that, but yeah, I do believe that a general strike is like, I don't know, that's like putting your fucking spaceship before your wheelbarrow.
Exactly. Ed, I still can barely hear you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening to Ed's audio.
It got worse. It got worse. It didn't get better.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. Let me.
Now you're really, really low. Like I can hear you a little bit.
Yeah, true.
Let me rewire some
Boy,
things. Let me rewire some things.
I can
I
barely
definitely
hear you.
agree with you guys though. And let me just point this out because this is someone who I don't always agree with. Someone who criticizes me a lot in my live chat. Dirtbag Left said you can bring corporations to their knees by not buying from them, but people are lazy and don't want to change. That's a good point. A lot of people don't want to change, so we got to raise their consciousness about that and get to know your community, like how all you guys are saying. Like, let's get a point A first. Right? We haven't reached point Z, which is a general strike, or point. I don't know where to put general strike, like point Y or point Z. We're not there yet. So focus on getting on point A first. Get to know your community. Try to raise some people's consciousness around your community. I know it's hard. I know you have to step out of your comfort zone, but you have to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable.
And
You got to
that's the
get
most
comfortable with
important
having
step.
uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah, that's the most important step.
If I can respond to that, yeah, I know I sound like shit. Oh my god, yeah. But just so you guys know, I'm actually a member of Yang Gang. I'm actually in Justice Democrats. I know you guys are not crazy about that. I'm in all the groups. I've been in socialist groups. I'm in Green Party Libertarians. I know they're going through some things right now. That's so I am actually reaching out to all. If there was someone who could put together a general strike, I also had coalition meetings with multiple parties attending. And I'm not just about parties as well, like, but that's just a place to find people that are politically or having an effect on the process as it is shaped now. I also talk to community activists and other leaders. So that's basically what I think you guys should be doing as well, right? That's how you build that solidarity, not through saying or not through like championing the position, but through showing people through your work, again, and consistency. People in Medicare for All March, I've given them a huge headache, but they know that I'm consistent. They know that I'm really committed. And now I'm working with them now. We're working it out. Thanks to Franco, so definitely really he helped too, you know what I mean? We gotta stick together.
Nice. Yeah, even though like a lot of us hate it, a lot of people still do identify with like labels, like calling themselves like libertarian or calling themselves like communists and like all these other like fancy terms. How can we like reach these people? Like, do you think it's necessary to try to understand what that ideology is, just so that you can have a better angle to try to let them know, hey, like here's like here are some things that we have in common, or try to raise their conscious level of things that you guys may have a disagreement on?
I think it's helpful.
I think a lot of that has to do with like assuming an identity, right? Like people find these labels to attach to themselves so they can feel like their identity is explained to the rest of the world. So like I don't know, I think first and foremost, question your identity, question yourself all the time. Like people find an ideology and the ideology becomes like fucking Bible to them, right? Like it's like ideology is a religion. Like religion is an ideology, and like it can manifest in a whole lot of forms. And so I think rule number one is to teach people that it's okay to question the identity that you have set out for yourself. Like in my personal experience, at least, like because I mean, if you tell someone that's a communist, communism's fucking dumb. Or if you tell someone that is a conservative, oh, you're just a fucking fascist. Or if you tell a liberal that you're being fucking infantile because you're a goddamn libtard, right? Like they're going to take that as an offense to their identity because they've assumed that as part of who they are, rather than what they believe, right? Like, so I mean, post-partisanship might be very step number one, is to break the monopoly on how we identify as like human beings to each other. Like, and at a psychological level, like I haven't figured out like the fucking prescription for that, right? But like, I mean,
that's one of the things that I say about like talking to people that you work with, because I mean, it's been said for a long time, and for the most part, it's fucking true. The unions are reactionary, and like I've talked to several fucking like hardcore fucking conservative, fuck the immigrant people that are in the local with me, and I was able to talk to them on a level that they could understand, because I could fucking trash talk all the shit that they don't like. And then little by little, I rather than just saying, well, I'm an anarchist or whatever the fuck, like they'll listen to me first, because I can agree with them on certain things at the start. And then they can start to, if you can get someone to agree with you, or let them know that you agree with them.
I like what you're saying, but I also feel like we must work with these groups to achieve concrete gains. We can't be all talk. The thing is that respect is not given, it's earned. So yeah, you could say all the right things, right? But a lot of people have been disappointed, lied to again and again. Like that's why you need to spend time with them and show your true commitment and your true.
Why would I want to waste my time with a group like the Green Party or Justice Democrats?
Well, I will and I do. I will and I do, and I'm everywhere. And that's
so why would I want to? I'm asking, like, why would anyone want to do this?
I wouldn't join the Green Party.
To earn that trust, right? Yeah. Otherwise, people just ain't gonna believe you unless you put your time in. Right? You could just switch positions day or night, or you could just say something else, what's convenient. It's up to you. Maybe you believe, and a lot of times people are good looking, often are given a lot of, people believe them for whatever reason. They look a certain way, talk a certain way. But in the end, it's hard to really deny someone who puts in that time and has worked with you over a long period of time and has shown their commitment and drive.
There is no drive in the Green Party. There's no drive in the Justice Democrats. They have nothing to offer me. Why would I join a party like that? Why would I join a party like the MPP?
Well, that you get to determine what those parties are when you join them, or any organization or community. You are a voice in that community, and you can change things.
I am the community, and I say that the group is not worth my time. So what would it like if I look from the outside and I say there is nothing valuable here, why would I waste any more time with that?
It's not worth your time for a certain reason, right? Yeah.
What?
What is that reason? What is the reason why you feel like it's a waste of time?
Because they're not doing anything. Well, what the fuck is the Green Party doing? What the fuck is Justice Democrat doing? What is the MPP doing?
That solve the problem? If they started doing things, would that make you happier?
The thing is, for some people, it's not worth their time. Like they know that
they are not worth my time. Period. They are not going to start doing anything. I'm not foolish, so I'm not going to put myself in that situation. I'm going to start my own thing and do something that actually works for something. That's rather than joining something that will co-opt.
These groups are also like having these groups also like are divisive, are prone to being like tribal. Like oh, you're an MPP. Oh well, I don't like you. Or you're in the Green Party. Oh, I don't like you. We're trying to reduce that, right? We want to mitigate things, so just have no groups at all. And we're just all united.
Part of. Yeah, I feel you. Or trying to escape the groups. I definitely am trying to do that. But as in terms of being a part of like many socialist groups, or like even like communes that have tried to like really try to remove these barriers, I've always seen like if it wasn't like an economic, right? I think that a lot of people have an economic hierarchy. I've never seen us able to escape a social hierarchy where some people's words were worth more than others, and in the end, that always caused a fracturing. You cannot escape factions. I've never been able to see any group or community be able to escape factions.
So we go to the factions that are just fucking us over and not providing anything, right?
Well, in the end, the factions that can work together, the ones that can come to an agreement, right, they're the ones who will win.
Why? Why can't we all coalesce around someone else? Why do we have to coalesce around the people that are just put in front of us?
I thought we're not coalescing around people. I thought we're not coalescing around individuals. I thought that was like.
I agree, but you're the one that is making the argument for that, dude.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I just said that's not what I believe.
So what do you believe?
I believe in. Okay, damn, sounds super aggressive, bro. You all right, man? Damn. I'm not.
Oh, I'm all right, dude. I've talked with you before, so I'm not an idiot.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, okay. All right. Well, anyways, just so you know, I believe that small communities like Yell Bros, right, where we have like we can get to know each other, and work on projects together in a successful way versus, people that are, but I do not agree with you that everything has to be local, right? I think that we should learn to come together on national projects as well, and we'll learn by practicing, not by talking. That's why you see me actually doing this stuff. That's how I'm getting a lot of practice in. Learning how to different models and different ways of.
And I'm asking you.
We have
I'm
a better.
asking you I'm asking you what purpose would that serve me, by any of these groups? And you haven't said any, but I do see Mr. Jude raising his hand, and waving at me, and pointing and doing all the finger things.
Yeah,
so
we'll get to you, Jude. I
wants
just want to point out one thing. And I think that people will have it will be more productive for you to talk to people who are apolitical than people who are in this group, where it's a lot harder to convince these people. With that, the most you can really do is show them evidence. Like, there's a lot of articles out there that expose groups like or videos that expose groups like, the Green Party and what they do, the Sunrise Movement and DSA. And if they're not convinced by that, then you can't force them. Like, what use is it for you to like constantly be debating them when you're not gonna, when your time could be better spent trying to raise someone else's consciousness who's more open. But yeah, welcome, Jude. Jude, you've been on the show before.
I want to hear Jude. What you got to say, Jude?
I'm so sorry. Just one last thing. Yeah.
Go ahead.
A very concrete example. Okay, the thing is that in New York City, right, CUNY is the largest urban university system in the nation, and we can see that there's been no talk amongst anybody about lowering tuition rates. Everything's bailed out because they want to keep the system as it is, corruptly channeling money into the wrong angles. So the thing is that I've already emailed every single student government in New York City asking them to come together with me to challenge the mayoral candidates and the city council candidates to talk about.
Hey, hold up, Anger Man. You gotta mute your mic when you're not talking. We're getting feedback. Oh, no problem. Just letting you know.
I'm talking to every single student government. I said, look, let's come together. Let's get the students together and really have an effect on the system and get the tuition talk under control and remove the bureaucracy that's killing our educational system and destroying our children's futures. Guess what? Not a single one of them replied. Not a single one. So now I'm forced to look through other angles. So I'm contacting NIPERG. I'm contacting DSA Student League. So you can sit on your high horse and say, you know what, screw DSA. They're worthless to me. But for people on the ground trying to make actual change happen, trying to actually roll how, right? What have you done? You know what I mean? So show me.
What have I done? I'm in an Assange group, dude. It's not a pissing contest right now. All right. I don't fucking like the Justice Democrats, and I don't like I don't like the Green Party.
All right, so, let's move on from this debate. Just agree to disagree, Ed and Josh. I want to get other perspectives in, and not just have this be like.
Let's hear Jude.
Yeah, Jude. Let's give you a chance.
I think Jude was gonna say something.
Yeah.
All right. So so first of all, the whole "what's in it for me" aspect, right? You're talking about not wanting to go to locales where large groups of people that, at least in theory, have similar common interests that you would have, right? So you're looking at it from the perspective of the leadership or the higher ups in any one of those given groups. They're not in it for you, blah blah blah. But there's a lot of people there that, win, lose, or draw, they're all going there for kind of the same reason that you would want to go there too. You have the ability to go there and just talk to people, network, phone numbers, the whole 9 yards, right? So you're basically saying, by virtue of the fact that somebody doesn't know any better and they're willing to go and at least take those initial first steps and talk to people, you're saying, I have no interest in dealing and interacting with them at all. You're saying that there's nothing in it for you. That was what caught my ear in the first place. And that's what made me
There is absolutely nothing in it for me for supporting Justice Democrat candidates.
Who said anything about support?
No, not that. Networking within those people.
That's not what I was saying. Networking with individual people that does not go against my interests. I can network with individual people without supporting individual candidates, can't I?
Okay, yeah, and that's fair and completely true. But what I said, and I'll say it again, you're basically suggesting that there would be nothing in it for you to attend any of those meetings, to go to any of those groups, to basically be in an environment where you can talk to those people and be like, hey, look, this whole thing and AOC, look, I'm not crazy about her, blah, 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 right? but hey, I'm for this, I think this is important, and why don't we discuss that and see what we could do to move that forward?
Yeah,
But you're saying, hey, I'm in an Assange group, and that's like, I'm just going to stick with that and
I was in the
everything
DSA,
else.
dude. I was in the DSA for like a week or like 2 weeks, and I did not like it. I went to like 3 or 4 meetings, and I was not into the format. Okay, so let's just dismiss
utilize that.
thing.
No, so utilize that to make friends and move that and escalate that beyond that. So yeah, you're dismissing an opportunity, and you're basically sending out a vibe to other people to dismiss that same opportunity. But meanwhile, like, there's some effective tools there. You don't have to give them money or any of that shit.
But it could work for somebody else. It didn't work for Josh. But it may.
I'm not allowed to tell you what my fucking opinion is on this.
You did, bro. You did, bro. You did.
You wanted. Your question was, what's in it for you? And I'm saying, like, for the average person, that would be a worthwhile get or an attainment. Not only that, not everybody.
And so is my experience. They can.
Not everybody
just like me.
Not everybody is going to start from the same perspective of being able to just grab a mic and start spitting right off the jump. Like, some people are actually nervous, or they're anxious to be around other people and to start finding their voice and speaking out. So
I
have this built-in like safe environment where you could go talk is actually something that's valuable.
Well, it's not like if I go to a DSA meetings, anything I say was actually changing what we were doing or changing the agenda for the next meeting either. So that's all.
You were able to ascertain all of that inside of a week?
I didn't hear anything.
You were able to ascertain all of that inside of a week and go, no, that's not for me?
I was in the Force to Vote meetings before the Force to Vote, and I was very upset with how the national DSA was acting. And you haven't even asked me about my fucking personal experience. You're just making all these overarching statements about how I'm misleading people to go down the same path as me. I never said any of that.
No, sir, I'm not.
All right,
no.
All I was saying is my experience in these organizations. Yeah, for a couple of weeks when I was in it, I met some nice people, but also I did not care for continuing to work with these people afterwards because there was very limited people even in the Metro DSA area that I met. I was only in it for a few weeks. I did not have a positive experience. That's just me.
All right.
I'm not saying we shouldn't fucking talk to the people that are in this group. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we shouldn't be a fool and donate our time to these causes that are working against us, like AOC in Congress. That's exactly what I'm saying. And you say in theory that we share interests with these people, but I completely disagree with that. I share no interest.
What's an example? AOC. I'm not. Fuck AOC. Who gives a shit about AOC? Stop grinning, Frank. But what's a commonality, or what's an interest? What's an interest that you think that you don't share anything with anybody that would, an average ass person that would attend a DSA meeting? What's an interest that you think you have that people that would attend, just the average people that would attend a DSA meeting, we have nothing in common?
I don't know. I'm not playing. I don't even.
You already put the statement out there. I'm asking you to elaborate.
That's not what I was saying, dude. I actually repeated that. I did not say that the people in the group are the problem. I said it's the groups that are the problem. So I just didn't like the group in general. I actually just said that I found nice people in the group and I didn't care to keep working with them. That was what I said. So.
But if they're nice people, why would you not want to continue to work with them?
Because I didn't want to make a fucking website for local healthcare. Because what is a website for a local healthcare initiative going to do, dude? I didn't like the plan that was in front of me, so I opted out of the group. You realize
there's like future plans, right?
No, I think that's a
steps move like one after another.
I don't even know what you're saying. I don't even know what you're saying.
So I want to hear from Zayden. Go ahead, Zayden.
DSA doesn't have a program. They have no long-term perspectives. They have no plan on actually taking power.
Oh yeah, they do. They have phone calls, Zayden.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They don't have any real plan, so that's why people can get very frustrated. I know a lot of people who go to
how frustrated I got.
Yeah, who they go to the DSA, they get demoralized. They're just like, "What the fuck is this?" We're just running in circles. And you call just because you're doing some activity doesn't mean you're actually achieving anything. You got to have a program, you know, you got to have a whole kind of long-term plan of like what you're doing. And then of course the biggest thing is they work with the Democratic Party, you know, the dominant part and sections of the DSA. It's all like about the Democratic Party, electing Democratic Party, you know, politicians, which is just, you know, just making things worse, you know, for the working class movement. So I think,
So you
you know, you can't blame someone for not liking the DSA. It is, you know, I mean, the thing is, you know, I'm part of the IMT, and so when we do sometimes like attend meetings, we try to bring up some of these critical points and try to point out that DSA needs to be moving in a different direction. Usually it doesn't go that well, but we usually end up finding some people to just kind of who are more interested in serious, you know, like revolutionary politics with serious plans, you know, based, you know, on in Marxism.
So you got to understand that, like, to a degree, and I get it, you know, time is of the essence, we're running out of time and all those sorts of themes, right? But you got to understand that, like, most of the populace of this country, at least at a minimum, is not it, you start spouting from Das Kapital and you're just outright gonna fucking lose people. Like, it's one thing it is fair to have a perspective that you're wanting to have this sort of revolutionary politics as your wheelhouse, but that's not where a lot of people are. Like, you have to have coalitions with people that aren't necessarily going to think that your way is the right way. That's why long-term conversations with folks where you go back to that well time and time again to try to convince them to go a little bit further and a little bit further.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Jude. Like
Yeah,
you
I,
can
I
like
actually,
agree to
yeah,
disagree with
Yeah,
them and
yeah,
just keep them
yeah.
like at a
I,
distant, or but just have them in contact
yeah.
and
You
just
don't
like,
gotta
I'm,
alienate them.
yeah, don't make these
yeah,
people
I'm
feel
not saying that
alienated.
we don't need to reject DSA completely. But I can
But like
understand
the
if some
members, right?
individual, yeah, if there's an individual who doesn't like the DSA, I can understand that. I'm not saying that we should reject working with the DSA or working within the DSA or anything like that. I understand that most people are not like totally revolutionary consciousness right now, so I'm fine. But I think it's fair if someone goes into the DSA and just doesn't like it and then doesn't get involved. It's not a, you know, I think that's understandable, and because you can blame that on the DSA itself. And we, you know, we try to change these type of perspectives within the DSA, you know, as much as we can, you know.
Well, it
Well,
also,
I
I
don't
would
know,
look at
man.
it.
I don't know. Chill on the whole party program shit, dude. People do not want to be fucking told what to do. When you start talking about how we need to follow this strict set of rules in a party program, you're gonna lose 97% of the fucking people because people don't want to fucking follow the goddamn rules. That's why people want some type of change in their fucking life. They see that these fucking power structures have been fucking them for however long. So if you're gonna say, yo, we need to have this party program, nah, dude, you just lost fucking everyone. People don't want to have a party program. People want to be fucking heard.
I
Like
mean,
you can't.
okay, but
Like
we do need some discipline and accountability. Imagine if we could hold AOC accountable, but there's no way to do it because the DSA has no like accountability structures. They have no program. They have no like set of rules to like how do you make sure that the people you help elect are going to actually do what they say they're going to do. There's no way to do it within the DSA because they, I don't
no way to
know, for
do that
some
in
reason.
any type of party, man. Like
Yeah, not in the,
that's like
yeah,
I
but
reject this idea of party politics, man, because the power structure of the party in and of itself is very convoluted on purpose. Like point out to me one time in history where a party serves it comes from the bottom up. Like I am very much educated in revolutionary history, and parties always stifle the fucking people. People do not want to follow a party program, man. Like, and even past that, like, if you show someone a party program, they're just going to nitpick it to death. You got to. I don't think that you're at a point where you can just formulate a party, whether it's DSA or whatever. Like we're not even to the point of party organization. Even if I wanted to be part of a party thing, that's why I say local. Uh, Focus on local politics and talk to people in your workplace. Like I don't understand how you're going to get like people on board with this revolutionary party program. Like, and full disclosure, man, I've been involved in those parties before. Like, I was very much part of this whole Marxist party shit, and I was very disappointed with like it's ideology, man, and people don't want a new ideology to follow. Like people are leaving their ideology because the ideology is poison their minds and their spirits, man. They don't want to just fucking trade the fucking old dope for new dope.
I think you're confusing the group with the group's leaders. Before you said the group and not the group's people, but to me, the group and the group's people are the same thing. So I would not make that differentiation as you do. And when you say and just so you know, there's a guy who I just recently had an interview with named Jonathan Bailey. He's from Queens, and actually he also is not happy about the non-democratic nature and the authoritarian nature of the DSA, and he's actually introduced bylaws in Queens. I don't know if he's going to survive, right? But he introduced bylaws to try to address some of the issues that you're talking about. So there will be people that you might have just turned your back on someone who could be a very powerful ally to you.
That's great. My opinion, though, is that's a fucking waste of time, and I respect your opinion if you disagree.
Yeah, and how do you fix the DSA then? Like, is it something that can be fixed? Like, if you know, what should we do to make it more effective?
Reasoning for saying it's a waste of time. I want to understand that.
Show me any party that has ever been able to be fixed, dude. Have you ever seen a party ever been able to be fixed from its membership? No, man. A party is all about the structure of telling people what to do.
So wait,
that's
so
a good point.
Okay,
what
so
do
wait,
we?
what's
Would we
the
not?
solution then? I guess.
Would we not at least agree? Could we not at least come to a middle ground understanding that going back even farther than the 70s, but like especially with the 70s, you go back and you look at like the Trilateral Commission and shit like that, where they kind of looked at everything that was happening with the civil rights movement and a lot of the free love and the protesting, and they went, holy shit, we're losing a grip on things, and we, like the captains of industry, need to kind of get a grip back on it and spend that money and do whatever we can to disenfranchise the vote, to get people to feel exactly the way that you're feeling right now, in so much that you think that nothing is going to happen from your vote. Like, why would they put that much money into something and push that hard on an across-the-board effort to make it so that you don't feel like going out to the poll once every 2 years if there wasn't something in it for them?
I'm sorry. What are you like alluding to?
Why do insanely rich people go out of their way to make sure that the poors don't vote if there wasn't power in voting?
I really kind of reject that premise because they do have the get out the vote. They do have these get out the vote campaigns, but it's the party programs that the players don't fucking feel like serve that. They never have. You talk to people anywhere on the street, and what are they going to tell you? What the fuck does my fucking vote matter?
That's
I'm
what
still
I
fucked at the end of the
but I think Jude is right, because there is some power there, because you can raise your profile, you can get more popularity. Like in Venezuela, I think Hugo Chavez, he was elected in an election, and
different structure. The elections are more secure in Venezuela than they are in the U.S. I just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, election, not all like electoral processes are just, useless. Some of them can be useful. I think in Venezuela, I think it was useful. And I think, in Peru just recently, there's a somewhat of a leftist victory. I'm not saying it's gonna solve everything, but I think it's a step in the right direction. But I think there needs to be always more than just elections.
But there is not more when it's Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Your vote has no fucking power.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Democrats and Republicans, there's no way forward with either of those parties. But I'm saying a leftist can make some, some sort of like victories
Our
and
system
make
won't allow it though.
some meaningful gains.
Zayden, our
I
system
think
won't allow it.
it has it happened.
It can't
Yeah,
happen in the
we don't
states
get that
with
because
the current process we
the
have.
industries and the corporations do not allow the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, whatever, to be co-opted by any legitimate movement. They're just going to be those two parties, those two
No,
duopolies with their
I
money
think
is what they want.
they're
Yeah.
fracturing. Republican Party's kind of like splitting apart, and then I think the Democrats aren't as powerful as they used to be either. So I think the
Yeah, I
political
disagree.
terrain is changing.
I totally disagree.
I disagree with that too, bro. They got
I think that's
the
what we're
money.
seeing,
The party has the money, bro. I don't know.
Absolutely, both of them do.
The status quo isn't what it's not like it used to be with the two-party
It's stronger. It doesn't need to
structure.
be like that. It has
It's
Kamala and Joe Biden and AOC and Cory Bush and all the Justice Democrats,
That's
Jamal
true.
Bowman. They don't need that.
Republican side.
But I think the type of opposition there is to the Democratic Party nowadays from the left didn't used to exist.
There's no
like 10
opposition.
years ago.
But Zayden, let me ask you
Like
this.
Jimmy,
Zayden. So what,
like Jimmy Dore, like Jimmy Dore. I'm not, he's kind of a leftist and he opposes the Democratic Party. That didn't exist at all.
But he's barely doing it. Like, let's be honest, he's barely.
Yeah, he's not doing much.
He's just in a big kissing contest with Ryan Green, AOC,
No,
and
dude,
his old
Jimmy Dore is coloring fully inside the lines. He has never stepped. It took him taking a fucking jab and getting all kinds of goddamn side effects for him to fucking actually say something, anything about how about the
You realize he had severe bone and joint issues way before he ever, like, going back to what, early 2000s, before he ever got that vaccination.
Yeah, he almost died.
So the notion that, like, all of a sudden his neck started hurting after the fact, I find a little suspect, but that's neither here nor there. What I would say about one of the other points,
he could have been talking about the issues, and he wasn't. He was not talking about COVID, the worries people were having around the lockdowns and everything. He was towing the line. And that's just one example. I mean, Jimmy,
he checked out,
he was
bro.
just one example.
Line. He totally checked out, bro. He didn't even toe the line. He checked out, bro. He went on vacation.
Well, to be fair, and I can't stand Dore, I'll be transparent about that, but to be fair to him, and he doesn't deserve it, but to be fair to him, he was at least last year saying that, hey, if you're going to shut everything down because of a deadly pandemic, you need to at least be kicking out money at the federal level to everybody monthly until it's over at a minimum. And that the government failed us.
Yeah, that's dumb guy logic. That's basic logic. Like,
that's coloring inside the
Well, that's actually a point that I was going to make earlier, right? When you talk about going to some of these meetings and groups and et cetera, there are people there that don't even know or have the notion that things could be the way that you have it in your head based on anything that you've read. To the bulk of the people in this country, they just want things to just work. They have a simple, basic understanding that, hey, at a minimum, here's some bare shit that should be happening. It's not, and I want to see that bare level shit happen. So when you go to like a DSA meeting or whatever, and they're not revolutionary enough, and they're not being radical enough, well, that's a lot of the people there probably don't know any better. And if you unplug after a week, you're going to end up taking something that could have pushed all of those people further to the left. You're going to be taking that out of the mix completely and taking out what could have been an effective and useful voice for that group.
Right. I want to.
The DSA since 1972 has been a wholly owned subsidiary of Langley. That's their job.
Okay.
There's a ton of research on this. So you're in a party that by design is supposed to de-radicalize leftists and push them into voting for the Democrats and being more and good and better eventual Democrats.
I reject that entirely. I don't care what research is out there.
I think
because if you tell people
that's true, I think it's partly true. It's partly true.
That's what he sounds like.
That's definitely
true,
If you
DSA
time and
does
time
do that.
again tell people that things are still fucked up and that you should be expecting better, how is that making them a better
So
Democrat?
my problem with the DSA isn't that they're not radical enough or they're not revolutionary enough. My problem with them is that they're a disingenuous, cynical organization that works as an affiliate of the Democratic Party.
Okay, so change it. Attend and change it.
Yeah,
You're
Steve, go into the
hilarious.
meetings and you
That's
Easier said than done. Power structures make it
We're gonna fix it from the inside because that's a thing that works.
Yes,
That's
do it.
the dominant
It's your
thing.
responsibility.
No. Actually, that's gross hyperbole, if anything. All of these groups, regardless of whichever one it is you want to go join, right, and meetings you want to go attend, it still involves getting people from your local area. I'm hippy dippy. I'm not. That's. I get your perspective, and we're already there. That's great.
Not hippy
I'm talking about
either.
your brother. I've already poked fun at you over the
I'm
fucking
not
internet
hippy-dippy at all.
about the goatee.
Everything Steve said.
About the
Ain't nothing
goatee?
hippie about me.
Are you fucking dumb?
You don't think you look like 1970s George Carlin?
I don't look like 1970s George Carlin, and I agree with everything he said.
neither do I.
Okay,
He's kind of live as hell, bro. Like, no,
Dude, why
you
you talking
are
about how he looks?
Democrats.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, who cares what
I
he
really
looks
don't.
like, bro?
But if you're that fucking shallow to begin with, dude, you can keep your opinions. You can have all of them. They're yours. I'm sure they're comfortable. I'm sure they suit you. I'm sure they fit you well. They probably don't look like 1970s George Carlin.
Or Moby. He could have called you Moby.
Actually, I've even heard powder. I can give you way better than anything you guys can come up with.
I'm not trying to insult you. I'm not.
It was
or at least not based on your appearance. I mean,
it was. Oh my god! It was meant in jest.
Oz, what's you in here? What you gotta say, chat?
Sure.
But my earlier point remains the same. That any of these groups that you attend, it involves gathering with people at the local level. It is a built-in mechanism that you can already have to attend and start a conversation with folks.
These
So
are the only
sit there and
people in
say,
the local area that you can interact with politically. You cannot interact
co-op.
with anyone else. You have to only go to these groups. There's no one else that exists in your area, but the locals that go to the Green Party and the MPP and the Justice Dems and the DSA. You only are allowed to interact with
So
them.
that we can try
Hold on.
and get some shit done in a duopoly that wants the third parties there.
That's not what I'm
to
saying.
suck away some of the more fucking actual activists that would want to go through a political process.
I'm not suggesting to anyone that you got to go and swear a blood oath and blah blah blah. I'm saying that it's a locale that's pre-gathered that if you don't have the tools to do it yourself, to get your foot in the door and talk to people